1. I am a manager at a small mom-and-pop business. We are a head shop. We sell pipes, bongs, vapes, etc. in Colorado. We have a strict policy that we can only sell things to people who are 18 plus years old, and that if someone comes in with a minor, we can no longer sell them anything and they must leave. I was doing inventory on my day off when another girl was working. We'll call her B. When we work in the store, we typically work alone from open to close. She was experiencing a rush and I was putting some inventory onto my clipboard in the back room. I came out to check on how she was doing and making sure I didn't need to step in and help. When I came out, she was ringing up a customer and the only people left were 2 people together, an older woman and a younger man. Typically, we card anyone who looks under 30 years old at the door, but since I was in the back and she was handling other customers, neither one of us had a chance. No big deal, since no purchase was made. I had to check the amount on a few items on the floor, so I was letting B handle the customers while I did that. The store isn't that big. You can hear a conversation from the whole other side. Now, keep in mind that we are not obligated to be kind to rude customers here. When someone is rude, we can go full force as the owners of the store do not agree with customers verbally abusing employees. Bless them. B. Hey there, thank you guys for being so patient. I'm gonna need to see your ID real quick though. Gesturing at the young man. Old woman.
He doesn't have an ID, he's my son. He's only 16 years old.
B. Oh, I see. Well, unfortunately, since he's a minor, and I'm not sure if you're going to be purchasing an item to contribute to him, I'm not going to be able to sell you anything. I'm really sorry, and I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Old woman.
You're effing kidding me, right? Why the F would I buy something for my son here?
At this point, I'm tuning into the conversation, figuring I'm going to have to step in because B is an extremely nice person and not very good at handling conflict. B. I'm really sorry. It's not only store policy, but it's actually the law. Old woman.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not buying anything for my son. You're going to sell me whatever the fuck I need and give me a discount for how ignorant you're being.
At this point, I saw B give me the look of wanting some help, so I walked over to the wicked old bag. Me. Excuse me, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't talk to her like that. We aren't going to sell you anything, and you both need to leave immediately. Young man.
That's fucking bullshit.
Now at this point, I'm done with these people. I'm not a very nice person when someone is rude. Actually, I'm a huge asshole. Me. I'm sorry, but I think you need to shut up and get out of this store. Both of you, now.
Old woman. Or what? I think you need to do whatever I say or else I'm going to have to see the manager of this store.
Me. Oh, fantastic, I thought you'd never ask. My name is Kat, I'm the manager of this fine establishment, and it would be just fucking dandy if you would leave. Old woman.
Is that how you talk to your customers? Is that how you talk to other people?
Me. Nope. Actually, I'm super nice to my good customers. But when you seem to be buying adult products for a minor, be rude to my employees, be demanding like a 5-year-old who hasn't had her ass wiped in 3 hours, and come at me with a whole lot of bull, I'm not so lovely. Old woman.
Why would I buy something for my 16-year-old son? He's just a kid.
Me. Listen, lady. When I was 16, my parents were buying me cigarettes, and now I have a nicotine addiction. We're not stupid here. I suggest you leave before things get uglier. Old woman.
Are you threatening me? I'm going to call the police for you, threatening me and my son.
Me. That's fine and dandy and all. Go ahead and call the police, and I'll happily explain to them how you came in here asking your son about what size he wants, which can cause you a hefty fine up to $5,000 for contributing to a minor, how you're trespassing after being told to leave, how you're berating my employee, and how you've attempted to convince us to contribute to a minor. If that's honestly what you want, so by all means call the cops. Just get the fuck out of my store. She quickly grabbed her son by the arm and told him they would just go to our other location and left. I called the other locations to let them know this broad was on the move. 2. So I work for a particular sub-shop known for speedy deliveries, and my store is right by a Target. My shift ends and I remembered I needed to go grab something, so I walk over to Target, start looking around, eventually stopping to look at some card games because why not? After a couple of minutes, I feel a forceful tap on my shoulder. I turn around and lo behold, it's a 5'6" woman with the want to speak to your manager haircut and some freshly fake nails. Now obviously she assumes I work there and I have no idea why. For clarity, Target uniforms are red and khakis. I was wearing my JJ hat and Jimmy John's jacket with blue jeans. Crazy lady.
Do you know where the baby stuff is?
Me. No, I don't. I'm sure an employee would know. Crazy lady.
What do you mean you don't know? It's very obvious you work here.
Me. Ma'am, I don't work here. Did you by chance not notice my jacket or hat? Crazy lady.
Oh, I get it. You're just a lazy fat fuck who just wants to cash a check.
Now I don't mind being called fat, but I hate it when I'm called lazy. And in my head I'm thinking, holy shit, you've actually pissed me off. Me. Lady, I don't work here. Please stop bothering me and screw off. Crazy lady.
You can't talk to me like that. I'm getting your manager.
Me. Please do. She runs off and grabs the manager on staff, and what do you know? I made his sandwich not that long ago. She's telling him her version of the story with all the usual spiel while I clock eyes with the manager. He gives me a slight nod and they eventually reach me. Crazy lady.
He's the one. He's the one who told me to fuck myself.
Lies? Manager. Ma'am, he really doesn't work here. In fact, he made me my sandwich not that long ago. Did you see his jacket? Crazy lady.
I can't believe this. Is this how you all treat customers here?
Manager. Ma'am, please calm down. It's just a misunderstanding. At this point, she reaches down into her cart and grabs something and tries to throw it at me. Luckily, her hand slipped and whatever it was missed. Manager. Ma'am, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Please come with me. He escorts her out and she just looks back at me like I just murdered her dog. I shrugged and went back to finding what I needed. 3. I work at a children's clothing store and have for the past 4 years, starting out as an associate and eventually working my way up to management. Being a small town, we have a lot of regular customers, one of which being an older woman who comes in multiple times a week. She is always rude. She threw money at me one time as an example, and none of my co-workers like her as she always causes some sort of trouble. My last encounter with her, she told me that she was going back to visit her home country and would stay there for a couple months. I was glad. I wouldn't have to deal with her for a while. Unfortunately, it wasn't a long visit because last week she was back. She came into the store while I was working with 2 other girls. I was ringing out another customer and heard her making a fuss about the price of a hat to my coworker. I always give my associates some time to handle things on their own, and only step in when there's a problem, so I just watched the situation and let her handle it. Then the woman came up to the checkout. I was still with the same customer, so I called my coworker up to ring out her purchase. I finish up my customer's transaction and turned to the counter to do some markdowns, and made sure to listen to their interaction, as she always causes some sort of trouble. The lady's total came to $28 and some change. She paid in cash, I heard the register shut, and this is where the trouble began. Coworker. Your change is $3, thank you. Crazy lady.
No, I gave you 2 $20 notes. You gave me the wrong change.
Coworker. Are you sure? I thought it was a 20 and a 10, but let me call my manager. Crazy lady.
I gave you 2 $20 notes. Do not lie.
At this point, my coworker turns to me with an expression that I could just tell she needed to take a breather, so I walked to the register. Me. Sorry about that, ma'am. I just have to count the register to verify we gave you the wrong amount. So at this point, I print out the report that tells us how much money is in the drawer. I was a little worried because mistakes happen and sometimes the registers are a little short or over, but this day it was exactly right, down to the penny. Me. So it looks like our register is exactly right. I'm sorry about that, maybe you gave us the wrong bill by mistake. Crazy lady.
No. My son always gives me the same amount of notes every time I come here. he gives me 5 $20 notes. No $10 notes ever.
Me. Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but our register is showing me that we have the right amount. If you gave us 2 20s, then it would show we were $10 over. Could you have gone to another store and they gave you a $10? Crazy lady.
No, I came here first. My son always gives me 5 $20 notes. No $10 notes ever.
Me, I'm sorry about that, ma'am, but I can't give you any money from the drawer, as it's showing we have the right amount, and then our drawer would be short at the end of the night. Crazy lady.
This is unacceptable. I shop here all the time, and I use cash every time. My son always gives me 5 $20 notes. No $10 notes ever.
At this point I was getting annoyed, and was tired of hearing about how much money her son gives her, as I had heard that story far too many times by this point. So I took the calculator and the slip of paper that shows the amount of money we should have, and put them in front of her. Me. This slip of paper shows how much money should be in the register. It's the same number that we have in, see? If you gave us 2 20s, then this number, pointing to the calculator, would be $10 more than it actually is. Crazy lady.
This is disappointing. I shop here all the time. My son always gives me 5...
Me. Ma'am. I'm really sorry about that, but my register's correct. So the only thing I can do is wait until the store manager gets in and have her look at the cameras. Crazy lady.
Oh no! Don't do that. It's fine. Must have just been a mistake.
At this point, she takes her items and leaves. I needed a smoke break after that. 4. I get asked for help lots whenever I am in tech stores or EB game stores. I guess making eye contact and smiling, Mommy taught me good, and having a beard makes me a nerd, so obviously I must work there. Which is weird because I'm usually wearing a Superman t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops. Nothing like the get-ups retail workers have with black pants and whatnot. I always try and help if people ask me nicely because it's the right thing to do, and I love how they get confused when I don't want to come check them out for my commission or whatever. I don't know how stores work. On the other hand, if they are rude, I play along and give bad advice, cause why not, it's hilarious. Or if they are aggressive, I just escalate straight back at them. Only learnt this skill recently, as getting older seems to correlate with giving less fucks, and young me would have just frozen like a deer in headlights. Anywho, less rambling, more story. My favourite interaction in mistaken retail slavery was in EB Games. A nice mum, probably 30-ish, asked me about buying her son Saint Row like he wanted, so I chatted for a bit, and talked her into getting him Skyrim or something alike instead, as she quickly agreed that game where you beat people to death with dildo bats? Probs isn't the best for little Jimmy. I don't know if she thought I worked there or not, it was just a nice human interaction and all was well. She thanked me and walked off. Then up walks Douchelord. Since I was helping somebody, I must work here. Douchelord was one of those prissy little 18 to 21-year-olds that thinks because they wear a $200 suit and work in an office they are a big businessman and ain't got time for nobody. He stomps straight up to me and squares off, while I am happily reading the back of a PS4 game and demands, DL.
Do you have any copies of UFC? Get it for me.
Me. No idea, have you checked there? Point to the shelf of mixed up PS4 games in front of me. Douchelord.
No, for Xbox.
Plus he stares like I'm an idiot. Me. No idea, bro, ask them. Then point to the EB crew at the desk. Douchelord looks me up and down like I'm dirt and stomps off to the desk. I continue looking over games, killing time while my girlfriend does shopping. I get put at EB so I'm not annoying. It's like man-child crash. Thinking about what a little prick the fucker was, when I get surprised by the following from behind me, and spin around wondering what is going on. Douchelord.
Oi, there's one copy of UFC left in there, go find it!
Points at the big bin of miscellaneous games. One of the big bins in the middle of the store EBs always seems to be full of stuff nobody wants. Me. It takes me a moment to collect my thoughts, then I smile at him and say, "Sure thing, boss," as I know exactly how this is going to play out from now on. Douche Lord pulls out his phone and does whatever douchies do on their phones. Me. Walk over to the bin, spend a minute or so finding the game in the mess of old shit it is full of. Score I find it, and it's only $20 or $30. I be ninja and take the route to the counter that goes behind a pillar. I buy the game and beeline for the shop exit. As I round the corner out of the shop, I call out to Douche Lord, "Later, boss." The way his face changed from indignant to confused was awesome, and I went on my merry way, leaving him to find out that the final copy was sold. I never got to play the game, I don't own an Xbox. And that's the story of my pettiest moment. I hope you all enjoyed it. 5. So I will preface this story with I work in an electronics store, but near the checkout we sell some small snacks and drinks. Also, this story happened to a couple of my co-workers some years ago and not myself, but I feel it definitely belongs here. So there are two people that have worked the checkout of this store for a very long time. I'll call them Claire and Mary. There are two parts to the front of the store, general checkout and store pickup. This day in particular, Claire was assigned general checkout and Mary was assigned store pickup. An older man, probably late 70s or 80s, walks up to the store pickup and Mary proceeds to process his order. As Mary goes behind the pickup counter to retrieve his items, he begins to glance about the store. That's when he notices the two coolers filled with drinks. It was a slower day, so Claire really had nothing better to do than observe this guy. According to Claire, his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree and bolts over to the cooler with the sodas, much faster than you would expect a man his age to move. He presses his hands against the glass and gleefully shouts,
I didn't know you sold soda here. This is cool.
He grabbed exactly 6 soda bottles and 1 water bottle, and practically threw them at Claire. At this point, Mary is rounding the corner back to her register, and all she sees is the gentleman bouncing on his toes, eagerly awaiting Claire to scan all his beverages. It was like watching a child open their birthday presents. They wrung him out for his drinks and finalized his order, and left the store happy as a bug in a rug. So, for the next 2 years after this, he came in once a month and bought 6 sodas and 1 water, and always made sure to do it with either Claire or Mary, apparently making a point to not purchase them from anyone else when either of them were on shift. But never bought any electronics, always the 6 sodas and 1 water. They really got to know him very well. His name was Liam, and he had been married to the same woman for almost 50 years. When asked how she felt about his beverage runs, he said he was pretty sure it made her happy to see him leave the house, followed by a good laugh. But then there was a span of about 3 months, where Liam didn't come to the store. Eventually his wife showed up specifically asking to speak to either Mary or Claire. Mary was there and the woman explained she was Liam's wife, and he had recently passed. Peacefully in his sleep though. He was also on the autistic spectrum and was in a bit of a lull before his first trip to our store. And when he had come home that afternoon with the sodas, raving about how wonderful he thought that was, his entire mood had shifted, and he became the man she married again. So the wife thanked Mary and Claire in spirit for making his final years so bright. Not the typical story, I know, but I thought it was really beautiful and would be a nice change of pace. R.I.P. Liam, you will always be remembered. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Adventures in Fast Food and Retail, number 21. Thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Sometimes doing these videos, not these videos specifically, but just in general, when you do it daily, sometimes I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like pulling teeth. Because you're just not in the mood, but you've got to get a video done. Recording this video was most definitely not one of those occasions. I had a lot of fun with it. I especially had fun doing the grumpy Scottish character. Now, I don't know if she was Scottish or not, but it was mentioned that she came from another country. So I saw a perfect opportunity to do the grumpy Scottish voice, because we Scottish people can be very, very grumpy. Just so we're clear, I'm allowed to say that, because I am a Scotsman. In fact, even in Scotland, there's only a handful of people who are allowed to say things like that. There's myself, obviously, and David Tennant, Billy Connolly, Sheena Easton, if she ever gets her accent back, and of course Claire Grogan. Ah, Claire Grogan. The pixie of pop. I've had a crush on her for years, never quite went away. But yes, so that's the official list of people who are allowed to say how grumpy Scottish people are. If you find anyone who's not on that list doing so, please forward their name to me and we'll sort them out. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.